Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole and this channel is all about health, wellness, and designing your dream life. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the tool that you need to change your life in 6 months. So as a little bit of a background to me, I have been trying to change my life for the past 10 years. Since I was 18, I've been trying to get in better shape, get good grades, save my money, and just change everything about myself, basically. And in those past 10 years, a lot of things have changed. I moved across the country. I now live in Australia, where I used to live in Canada. I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. I've had a lot of accomplishments in those 10 years. But in terms of the underlying principles of who I am and my habits and behaviors, they haven't really changed. They sort of stayed the same until about 2 years ago. So until 2 years ago, I was really stuck in these habits where I would come home from school, I would just sit on the couch, have a glass of wine, eat a bowl of popcorn, and just repeat. And I was going to the gym on and off for the past, 8 to 10 years, but I wasn't really sticking with anything consistently enough to see any progress. Since I graduated from my master's degree a few years ago, I started looking into personal development. I was, out of school for the first time in my life. I had a 9-to-5 job and was just sort of sitting around going, okay, well now what? Is this what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? Just, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, wake up, do it all over again. And that's when I started into personal development and reading a lot of self-help books, basically, and started to pick up things that I was doing that were wrong and were keeping me stuck. So it's really been in these last 2 years that I've seen huge shifts in my mindset and my habits and behaviors and the way I approach things. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 4 things that have really changed the way that I approach things and that have actually made me able to change my life. And I know that if I continue to implement these things, and if you implement these things, then you could be in a drastically different place in 6 months than you are today. So the first thing that I want you to do, and this is really important, don't skip this step, you need to identify what is and is not going right in your life that is making you want to make changes. So obviously if you're trying to change your life, there's something about what's going on that you aren't happy with. So making a list of what things you are happy with in your life and you're not happy with can really help you get clear on what you need to do to move forward. This will also help you have a better idea of what you actually want your life to look like in 6 months. And then you can start to visualize that happening and visualize the steps that you need to take in order to get there. The second part of this is to actually understand the behind the scenes of what it's going to look like to get there. So for example, for me and for a lot of people, we want to change our bodies. So a lot of times we'll end up on Pinterest and looking at, these ideal figures where people are really skinny with flat stomachs and lots of muscles and just look really petite but pretty. If you were to take a look into that person's life, what are they actually doing that got them to that point? And a lot of times we spend so much time putting that person up on a pedestal that we don't actually imagine what it would be like to put ourselves in their shoes and to actually live the life to get that. What we don't really realize and we're kind of blinded by is how much effort and work and persistence goes into the things that we want. So to make this really simple example, let's say, you see somebody playing the piano and they play it so beautifully and you really, think that that's really cool and you want to learn how to do that. And we have this, dream state where we really want to be able to do that thing, but we're not willing to put in the hours and hours of practice that it takes to sit down at the piano, just be standing there by ourselves playing the piano. A lot of people aren't willing to put that effort into it, which means that you're not actually going to ever accomplish that goal. So whatever it is that you're visualizing that you want to have in 6 months, understand what's the behind the scenes that you're missing. What do you actually have to do to make that happen? And are you willing to do it? You have a choice. You can choose to either do those things or not do those things. But if you choose to not do those things, then you're not going to get the goal that you want. So you have to make a conscious choice to put in all of the effort that it takes to get to where you want to be. And if that's not what you want, then that's fine. But you need to understand that idealizing that goal is one thing compared to actually putting in the work that it takes to get there. Okay, so once you've done that, and I actually want you to sit down and journal those things out. Where do you want to be? What does it take? What are the action steps? Make sure you actually do that work. The second thing is setting your priorities. So once you know what you want and what you have to do in order to get there, you need to be able to put up boundaries and set priorities and say no to everything that's not that. So for example, if you really want to have a really good body, but you're not willing to eat more fruits and vegetables, you're not willing to cut out junk food, you're not willing to get up early and go to the gym, you're not willing to, skip going out for drinks with your friends so you can get a good night's sleep. Those are the things that it takes to get to the body that you want. And you need to be able to say no to things that don't serve that. So an example from my own life is that I really wanted to save money. So I had a savings goal of $10,000 for my emergency fund. But I kept catching myself wanting to spend money. So I needed to remind myself that I needed to say no to, buying more gym clothes or buying a different brand of protein powder or buying like different house things, that those weren't serving my goals. I needed to say no to that in order to save the amount of money that I wanted to save. The next thing, and this is really important, is that you can't change everything at once. So when we think about changing our lives, we think about changing absolutely every aspect of it. We want, a better house. We want to be able to get a new car. We want better clothes. We want, better body, and just like want to change absolutely every aspect of our lives. But that's not realistic. If you try and do everything at once, you're going to overwhelm yourself. And this is really based in the all or nothing mindset. And this is something that I really struggled with for a long time, is that I felt like I needed to be going all in, or I was sitting on the couch like a little couch potato with wine and popcorn. There was no in between. There was no kind of doing it. It was going all in and overwhelming myself and then going back to the couch potato. So you need to choose one thing to start with and stick with that one thing. Just focus on one teeny tiny little habit until that becomes automatic for you, and then you can add something else in. So for example, if you're wanting to change your health and improve your body, then that one little tiny habit might just be that you have one salad every single day, or you eat one less cookie every single day. Like just one teeny tiny thing that you think that you can accomplish to be able to push yourself forwards. And it'll be so small that it doesn't even feel that significant. Your brain will fight you against this. Your brain will say, oh, well, that's not going to matter. That's not going to make a difference. It will make a difference, but you need to stay with it. And if it's too big, you're not going to stick with it, and then it's all for nothing. So pick something really, 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 really small that you can stick with long term. And as a side note to this is that you want it to be something that's actually going to move the needle for you. So if your main issue with not losing weight is that you eat a lot of junk food, but then your little goal is to drink more water, like yes, drinking more water is going to be beneficial for you, but that's not the main cause of your problems. You need to tackle your nutrition first. Okay, and then the fourth and final tip that I have for you guys is that a lot of changing your life has to do with doing your deep mindset work. It always, always, always starts with your mindset. You need to dig deep and identify what are the things that are holding you back. How are you numbing yourself and procrastinating and keeping yourself from actually doing the things that you want to do? So for me, I was numbing myself with coming home, watching TV, eating popcorn, drinking wine, and just trying to completely numb over any feelings that I had during the day. So if I was stressed because I had an assignment, all right, watch TV. If I, had some relationship issues, okay, I'm gonna have a glass of wine. And I wasn't feeling anything, and I wasn't dealing with the things that were coming up for me. So it wasn't until the past couple of years that I really identified that as an issue. I just felt like I'll just try harder at the gym. I'll just, try and change my actions. But I would just cycle back because I wasn't actually changing the root cause. I wasn't changing my thoughts, and I wasn't changing my emotions. So let's say part of your tiny habit that you've identified in the last step is to eat less cookies at night. So you need to figure out, what is causing you to actually sit down and eat those cookies every night. What is going on? What is causing that? And you really need to sit down and journal and dig through and figure out what is going on. Usually what happens is it just starts as a response to a trigger. So your trigger might be that you're stressed or you're tired, or, something happened during the day and you come home and you've coped with it by eating some cookies. And then your brain likes that and it feels that reward, and it remembers so that it can repeat that again the next time. So the next time you come home and you feel stressed or you feel tired, your body knows to cope with it by eating the cookies. And then eventually it becomes a habit. The habit just becomes, I come home, I eat cookies. So in order to actually change the things that are going on for you, you need to have a new response to those emotions. So breaking the habit can be, instead of coming home and sitting down on the couch and eating cookies, you come home and you roll out your yoga mat and you do 5 minutes of stretches. Again, really, really tiny habit. Just be rolling out your yoga mat, 5 minutes of stretches. Easy, right? It breaks the habit of, okay, I'm gonna sit down and cope with my feelings by sitting on the couch and eating cookies. I know that none of these things I've really talked about are overly spectacular or gonna wow you in any sort of way, but these are really the things that I have done, I've sat down and done the work for, that have changed my life. And I know that if you sit down and you do the work, that you will as well. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below because I would love to hear from you guys and love answering questions. So, hit me up if you have any questions that you want to ask. If you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I upload new videos every single Sunday. And hit that like button as it really supports my channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!